So the man with the burn scar, there's a lot of theories about who that could be. But recently there's been a lot of buzz about it possibly being Harald, King of Elbaf, Loki's father. And I know that he died in chapter 1170, which is the chapter most current as of this recording. But there's some compelling evidence to the man with the burn scar being him. Now, the man with the burn scar is significant because he was mentioned a few times. I think at the end of Wano he was first mentioned maybe, but it said that he has the last road poneglyph. So the Straw Hat Pirates have like 3 of them right now. There's a few other characters that have the information on them as well, but you need 4 of them to find the location of Laugh Tale, where the One Piece itself is. So getting that last road poneglyph is crucial in ending the series, essentially, because that's where we are. We're in the last part of the series at this point. So this man with the burn scar has the last piece to find the One Piece itself. And we've been speculating like who it was, and if it is Harald, that means that he is, as it was said, on like a black ship somewhere just cruising out there, and on that black ship I guess he has like the road poneglyph itself. Now that's not foolproof. I'm not like outright saying that it is definitively Harald, but I'm saying that there is like a good possibility that it is him, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was him actually, because I think it will be revealed in this arc probably. So before we even get into like the details of why it is him, let me just say that whenever we go into these arcs, especially post time skip, but I guess this also happens pre time skip as well, there's always like a king element of the places that the Straw Hats visit, and the king is thrown out of power to some extent or presumed dead. That happens so much. And then it turns out that the king actually isn't dead and that he was alive the whole time secretly. It's happened so many times. We've actually talked about this before in like our Davy Jones video as to like how Davy Jones is probably still alive because of that, but that's, a story for another time. But like, given that this happens so much with Oda's writing and how he tells these stories and these arcs, which I guess all ultimately relates back to what happened during the Void Century, that just makes me think right there that Harald is probably still alive. And yes, we do see Loki kill him at the end of chapter 1170. A couple chapters before this, at the end of God Valley, we see Garp and Roger use their ultimate attacks on Rox, who is Dami Reversied. Now, Harald wasn't Dami Reversied, but he still did have like the regeneration ability that comes with Dami Reversied. And they like blow Rox apart, seemingly killing him at that point. But in the chapter after that, we saw that Rox wasn't killed. And that he was actually, like, back together. But just as a human again. He wasn't Dami Reversing anymore. So I don't see why the same thing couldn't happen to Harald. Especially since Oda specifically showed us that this is a possibility. So, I guess, what do you think about that at first?
Yeah, so, personally, I'm not the biggest believer of this theory. But I would love to play ball. Just with the theory that King Harald could be that guy. So when it comes to this, I could see there being ways where this could work. I think you brought up a really good point where a lot of kings in One Piece are presumably dead for a while, and then they're later shown to be alive. I never really noticed that until now. I always knew about the king aspect. Like, yeah, the kings are really big, but you're right. Like, King Riku was that way. Cobra was that way. I feel like there's 1 or 2. Oh, yeah, Gonfall was that way as well. There's, like, another one that I'm just, like, missing.
Sukiyaki wasn't, like, straight up said to be dead.
Sukiyaki.
But he was gone. And then out of nowhere...
Yeah, he was gone.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, he's... whatever the guy with the Tengu's mask name was, I forget his name, but it was revealed to be him.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. I didn't even think about that.
And he also
that's so funny.
And he also was protecting the poneglyph in Wano.
He was. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with King Harald being alive, like, it is possible. We don't know how the Mark of the Abyss works. And with Loki's fruit being one of the 2 that should be great at countering Imu's powers, yeah, who's to say that it doesn't help, like, destroy the Mark alone and not King Harald explicitly, right? For Luffy, for example, we're expecting Luffy to liberate the characters with the Mark or liberate the Domi Reversing citizens. If that is one of the 2 powers, maybe Loki's the same way. where he can liberate his father. I don't think it's awful. Like I said, I'm not the biggest believer in it because we would have to then explain like the black ship, right? King Harald, we've seen his ship. It's not black. So that is why I want to outright say it's not him. And then of course, like we have to keep in mind like the whirlpool powers, right? Whoever the man marked by flames is, they can create whirlpools at will. King Harald doesn't have that powers yet. He does have like the whole like thing where he's like the monster in the mist, which I think is pretty funny. Like he attacked one guy on a foggy day, and now he just has that epithet. Another thing is the world government tie-in. I think King Harald works for that perfectly. You know, former world government soldier, so I think that's pretty nice. And we do know that King Harald has been to Fishman Island, so we could say that he has the Fishman Island poneglyph because of his ties to King Neptune. I don't think that'd be awful. Like, I think there's ways where this could work. I do not think it's a bad theory. So, yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, you mentioned those two key aspects, which also I thought was interesting because Oda in the flashback of Harald shows us just those two instances pretty quick. He shows us that he was hey guys, by the way, he was the monster in the mist for a little bit, and he was destroying pirate ships out there, and he was just a giant monster coming out of nowhere. And we see him like split the ships in half. And when you do look at the panel that we've been referencing where Lafitte and Shiryu talk about the man marked by flames, or the man with the burn scar, the ship that's going into the whirlpool is like split in half, which is interesting.
I was about to say, like, just real quick, one more thing about King Harald where this could actually work. We heard early on in Elbaf, which that sounds crazy to say, it was like this year, or last year I should say now, when Frankie was taking the tour with Ripley, we saw a branch of the Atom Tree that was destroyed. And that's when we first learned that fire is Elbaf's weakness. Like, oh yeah, fire and lightning now, that'll destroy the tree. What if that's where the black ship comes from? It's like a burnt part of the Atom Tree. And that's why King Harald has the black ship. It's because it's from that broken branch. And that was like a hint towards that all along.
That's a great theory, because that hasn't been explained either as to what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a random plot point, right? Like, we could say that it's been wrapped up because it's just to explain that lightning is a weakness, but what if it was a double thing where it's like, yeah, no, somebody made a ship out of that burnt branch and it was just King Harald?
It makes sense to me. I mean, honestly, guys, I'm not trying to like hype you up or be too assertive on this theory. The way that Oda works, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if this is the case, because other than that, it would just have to be some random character that just comes out of nowhere, because I just don't think that's going to be the case anymore, since we are towards the very end of the series here, or not the very end, but we're at the end. I just don't expect to be any more like just, hey, this guy was out there the whole time, he's the man marked by flames, he has this devil fruit that creates whirlpools. I mean, that's also a possibility. I don't know how to explain the whirlpools. I would like to, if it is Harald, I would like to assume that he's just causing them somehow without a devil fruit possibly, unless that is like a perfect narration that we're getting from Lafitte, where yes, this means that he does have a devil fruit that creates whirlpools. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because also it goes back to him, the monster in the mist, or whatever that was called. And then you also mentioned King Neptune. It shows us just for like half a page or one page, maybe 2 pages, but that Harald randomly was friends with King Neptune. Now, this is important because the last time that we saw the last road poneglyph that no one has yet, the last piece that they're missing, that supposedly this man marked by flames would be having, was at Fishman Island. And then randomly, it just wasn't there anymore within like the last 20 years or something, right? Something like that.
Like I said, it's not a bad theory. I don't think it's that awful. Like, the whirlpools are the one giant thing we have to like overcome. Like, how is that possible? Maybe he has like a crew of fishmen. Like, that could be it, you know? And then, like, why would he do this? I guess that's another key aspect to keep in mind. Like, why would King Harald gatekeep the One Piece? Like, out of everybody in the world, King Harald is like, you know what? The One Piece, I need to protect it. Like, that seems odd. It's a very random quest to give yourself.
Aside from the whirlpool and the black ship thing, that's what I was also wondering. It's like, why is he gatekeeping the last road poneglyph? Unless he's just trying to make sure that the right person gets it, which I don't know why he just wouldn't give it to Loki, or he was waiting for Loki, or I don't know, maybe he made some kind of deal with Shanks. But then again, Shanks would just instantly go get it as well. Yeah, I just don't know about that, which is, I guess, one of the big lingering pieces here. But then I guess we just get into like the mark, the flame mark itself. When Loki is fighting against Harald in the last chapter, before his death, there's flames everywhere. The throne room is on fire, right? That's right there. And also, like, when Loki hits him with Ragnar and, like, it breaks him apart, that could leave, like, a scar or something when he comes back together. Because, like I said, it's not confirmed that he's still alive. It's actually said that he's dead. But then again, there's been so much unreliable narration in Elbaf so far. But it just goes back to what I was saying. Rocks somehow came back together. Like, he was blown apart, and then he came back together and he was a normal person again. Because I guess the overwhelming Conqueror's Haki overcame the covenant that was made by Emu. And we know that, of course, Loki is using Conqueror's Haki when he defeats Harald. He has to. But Harald is, like, not coding himself, or at least it's implied that he's not. And that's how he defeats him. So if he is using Conqueror's Haki or Advanced Conqueror's Haki, he could be, in theory, overcoming the Covenant. Because we were talking about that, like, how do you overcome the Covenant ability? How do you overcome Dominant Adversity? You just have to beat the crap out of the person, essentially. So yeah, do you have anything else with that? Because I mean, this is like the long and the short of it. It could be Harald. I just don't know why he's gatekeeping the last row poneglyph.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially just what it boils down to. And then, of course, like, how would we see him in this year? Because Oda, in his Jump Festa message, of course, his timelines are really bad. He's mentioned that before. But he seems very confident that we're going to see the man marked by flames this year. So that man is either in Elbaf, will show up to Elbaf, or he's on the very next island, which is possibly just going to be Lodestar. So, like, that's another thing too, right? Like, if it is King Harald, let's just play with the hypothetical. Where would we actually see him? Because I don't think he's in Elbaf anymore, right? If we're saying he's taking up this mantle and leaving with the poneglyph, I doubt he's anywhere nearby. I doubt he wants anybody to discover the secret. So, yeah, like, how do we actually run into him at this point? Is he just at Lodestar, the very next island, just hanging out? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing that makes me think that it could be Harald, because Oda did say in that Jump Festa thing that we are going to see him soon. And if we're going to see him soon, it's going to be during this arc. And this arc is tying into Harald and everything with the flashback. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just randomly, I don't know, either shows up or Loki knows about this. You know, at the end of the arc, or whenever they wrap up what they're doing with Emu and the Holy Knights, the Straw Hats are like, okay, we have to go get the last road poneglyph, but we have to find this man marked by flames, or the man with the burn scar or whatever. And Loki's like, well, that's actually my dad, Harald. I already knew this, because he's already
It's my father.
He's already lied about Harald. Well, not technically lied, but he withheld the truth. He didn't tell everybody what had happened that day, and he willingly, I don't know if he willingly allowed himself to get in prison. He wasn't defeated by Shanks. So maybe Shanks has something to do with that too, because why was Shanks going to Elbaf other than I guess just visiting? But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to put that out there. I think this is a possibility. I wouldn't waste your guys' time with this video if I genuinely didn't think this was a possibility. Because just think about it. It's what we were talking about in the beginning of the video. Almost every king that is said to be gone or dead winds up coming back at the end of the arc. So why not this time
it happens,
as well?
dude.
Yeah, just go back yourself and just look at all of the arcs with the kings. It's said that they're gone to some extent, and then they come back, which is why not with this one too? Especially the way that Harald has been built up. He's this tragic character, and it's like, okay, this is him redeeming himself. He doesn't want to go back to Elbaf and be the king anyway, because he was talking about how he wanted a better king. Like, he essentially wanted Loki or Harald, Loki, because Harald is a weakling. He would need Loki to, you know, become the new king or the new leader of Elbaf. So he's not going to come back, especially now that he's disgraced with, you know, the thing that he did with Emu and everything. So this is his way of redemption. And then maybe there's some Shaggy element to this as well, because That hasn't been revealed yet, who Loki is talking to on the Denden Mushi. When Harald was talking to Neptune, he said that, yeah, you're having this daughter, Shirahoshi, or whatever. I don't think they said Shirahoshi, but you're having a daughter, and she's going to be shaggy like you. Or, I'm paraphrasing. So there's something there, too. I'm not saying that Shaggy is Harald. That would be interesting if it was just Harald talking to Loki this whole time.
That would be crazy.
But he would just know Harold's voice, unless he's doing something with his voice
Yeah.
or something. But I think there's something there, too. Because we know that Garling gave Harald that long-distance transponder snail, that Denden Mushi. And that was just said real quick, too. There's a lot of, like, things that happen like that in the flashback. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, he was the lurking mist guy. Oh, by the way, he knows Neptune. Oh, by the way, Garling gave Harald this long-distance transponder snail, which hasn't been mentioned again yet, unless it was just a way to explain how he's communicating with them. But then again, that wouldn't even be necessary because he could just, you know, telekinetically speak with Emu. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, guys. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Check out Sai's channel. Link will be in the description as always. And have a great day, guys. We'll see you in the next one.